Do you actually wanna be their friend, or are you just people pleasing? I ask that because I've had to ask myself that same question, and all these years, I would gaslight myself into thinking I wanted to hang out with someone, gaslighting myself thinking, "Well, we have stuff in common. Well, they love hanging out," without thinking about what I truly want or if I feel like it's an equal energy exchange within the friendship. Hello, welcome to Joy with Kendall. I'm your host, Kendall Joy, and today's topic is about friendships and whether or not we should end them, whether or not we're showing up authentically, and whether or not we're just people pleasing within them. Because I think for me, for so long, I was in this period of having no friends. And once I felt comfortable with myself enough to where I didn't feel like I needed those friendships for fulfillment, that's when these friendships started flooding in, and I feel so fulfilled with my life and with the people that are in it, and I feel so blessed to say that I feel like I have so many deep soul connections. But with that, I feel like I have a lot of inauthentic connections coming in, and it's almost felt like a test. I don't wanna use the word test, but it has been. It's felt like it's mirroring back to me, "Hey, are you gonna continue to tell these white lies? Are you gonna continue to lie to yourself and gaslight yourself into thinking you wanna hang out with these people out of fear of rejecting them or hurting their feelings? Or are you gonna be honest with yourself and them because that's what you deserve for your energy, and that's what also they deserve, an explanation and not to be ghosted." And I know that there's this big idea going around that we don't owe anyone anything. We can ghost whoever we want. We don't owe anyone an explanation. And now I do think that is true for certain circumstances. There are also times when we're just using that as an excuse to avoid a hard conversation, avoid rejecting someone, avoid a possible conflict or disagreement. And if you do think that, just ask yourself and be honest. Do I want to ghost them out of empowerment, or am I doing so out of avoidance? I think within that, you'll know immediately. Are you doing it because you're fearful, or are you doing it because you feel empowered doing so? And I know for me, I know I don't technically owe these people that I have cut off an explanation, but it lies within my integrity that these are all people that have not wronged me. They're not people that have crossed a boundary. They're just people that I would simply not like to hang out with outside of a community or just hang out with at all because my time and energy is sacred and important. And if you're watching, remind yourself your time and energy is important, and who you spend your time around is going to impact you. So surround yourself by people that you actually love and want to be like. And I think there are friendships that I feel like have come into my life that I don't necessarily feel inspired by the friendship. I don't feel energized after I hang out with them. And know that there may be people that feel that way around you, but you don't feel that way around them. It's like going on a date with someone and someone being interested and someone not being interested. And it's not a matter of you being worthy or not. It has nothing to do with you being worthy, but it does have to do with misalignments within each other's lives. It's genuinely nothing personal. And I've experienced firsthand being honest with people about not wanting to be really close friends. Maybe I just want to stay connected on socials or whatever the case may be. And I've cut off quite a few people this month because I've been so overwhelmed with everything going on in my life that I've literally had to negotiate the friendships, the relationships. Where am I spending my time? Where is it important? Because I have no energy to leak out anywhere anymore. My energy is too important. My time is too important. And that's not a bad thing, and it's not selfish. And I'll give you guys an example of what is something that I said to someone that I felt like I needed to cut off. And there was someone from high school that was running to rekindle our friendship. And she was talking about how great our friendship was, and I completely agreed. I loved being friends. I love that she checked in. But I also know that I'm such a different person now and that this friendship wouldn't align with who I have grown into. And I'm not saying I'm any better than this person. I'm just saying we're on different paths now, and I want to keep moving forward, not stepping backwards. Not that old friendships mean that. that is just a friendship that I know isn't a deep soul connection that I feel like I resonated with from the beginning. Does that make sense? So this person texted me and I responded. I was like, oh, so good to hear from you. And then they asked to hang out. And I didn't respond for like 2 months. And it was honestly weighing heavy on me because it doesn't lie within my integrity to just ghost someone because I knew deep down what I needed to say to her. And so I got the courage one day to be like, hey, I'm so sorry. It's been like a month, but I just wanted to let you know that I so value our friendship and I will 1000% be cheering you on from the sidelines forever. But I don't necessarily want to rekindle that friendship. I just feel like I've moved on in a different path. And that was honest. I told her exactly how I felt. And I think too, if you are thinking about telling someone whether or not you want to be friends with them or, what your boundaries are within that friendship are, be sure that you're being clear about whatever it is that you're saying. Because in the past, I would beat around the bush and I would be so nice and be highlighting all the ooey gooey stuff that I was saying because I was so worried about them having a negative reaction instead of getting the message out there. And I'm not saying you have to be on either end of the spectrum. You don't have to be super hyper nice and you don't have to be an asshole either. You can have this good middle space where you acknowledge, hey, I still love you. This is going to be dependent, obviously, on who you're saying this to. Hey, I still love you, or hey, I respect you and our friendship. But with that being said, I don't want to hang out anymore. Maybe that's what you're trying to communicate. Maybe you're trying to communicate, hey, I don't want to be friends anymore. If you're texting or if you're saying it out loud, you need to be sure that there is a clear statement that makes whatever thing you're trying to communicate out clear. Stop worrying about sugarcoating things. And something I even caught within myself was at the end of a text message I was sending. And obviously this was sent over text because she had texted me. This wasn't something that was going to happen in person. I was at the end of the message, I almost said, don't take this personally. And then I erased it and I was like, whoa, that is me wanting validation from them that they didn't take it personally. That is me trying to manipulate their emotions. That's me trying to control instead of allowing their reaction to be what it is. Because honestly, she could take it personal. Maybe it triggers a wound she has. That's valid. You know what I mean? We can't control or impact anybody's reactions. They are going to react how they are going to react. And if you are fearful of them reacting negatively, they shouldn't even be in your life anyways, honestly. Like if they're not respectful of you and your boundaries, that is an even clearer indicator that they were not supposed to be in your life anyways. Because somebody that loves you and genuinely cares about you as a person won't be reacting with something that's going to hurt you. So remind yourself of that as well. Because I know for me, I do fear those negative reactions. And again, it's just from old wounds. And no, that's totally normal. And it is hard to gain the courage to confront someone or be real with someone about not wanting to be friends or just not about feeling the same way that they do. Again, it's literally so similar that to like romantic relationships. If you've gotten to this point and you're like, that's all great, now I know how, but how do I even know if I want them in my life? How do I know if I'm gaslighting myself? So for me, I realized I was gaslighting myself when certain friendships that I feel really fueled by, I would respond to them almost immediately about hanging out, or I would just feel so excited by them asking to hang out. I'd be like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, let me find a time. As for other people, I would like leave the message unread for a while. This is not going to be the case for everybody, obviously. Everyone's different in terms of like texting and all that. For me, when I'm not feeling inspired to respond back to them, it's because I don't really want to hang out with them, or I don't want to respond, or I know deep down I don't want to hang out. So I'm like, it's just easier not to respond, or I'll figure out what to say. I keep putting it off to the side because there's some fear and avoidance there about responding. And again, I would gaslight myself and be like, no, it'll be fun. And then I look at my calendar and I'm like, man, I don't really want to negotiate any of this time of mine. You know what I mean? And that's when I realized which friendships, and for me recently, it's more so been friendships that hadn't really taken off. They weren't like old, deep, long friendships that I had been cutting off recently. Because within the past like 6 months, there have been 4 people that I have cut off is a strong word because I didn't cut them off, but people that I just kind of put an arm's distance to and communicated with, and through that I kind of learned like, oh, the first time I did it, I was way too nice because I was so scared of doing it that I was scared of hurting their feelings. And then I felt like that message wasn't communicated clearly. And that could in return hurt that person or hurt me or not distinguish a strong boundary. And so that's why I'm making this episode, because I want you to have the tools that you need if you do decide, hey, I'm going to cut off this person. And it's going to be uncomfortable if you're not used to being honest with people, especially if it's in person. Obviously, this is so dependent on the person, how you know them. Are you in the same community as them? Will you continue to see them after kind of saying, hey, I don't really want to hang out? And I know it's a lot harder too in person rather than over text or whatever the case may be. And you will be the one that gets to decide whatever form that'll take. And it might even happen organically. So, with all of this being said, here are some questions I'm going to give you to ask yourself. Ask yourself, what friendships feel like they fulfill me? Or you can even ask yourself, how do I want to feel within a friendship? And with whatever friendships you have in mind, you can ask yourself, is there an equal energy exchange there? Do I feel drained? Do I feel heard? Do I feel seen? Do I feel like they take more than they give? And you can even ask yourself, do you feel like you're gaslighting yourself in any way to stay in the friendship or relationship because of fear? Whether that's fear of conflict, fear of rejection, whatever the case may be. Are you afraid of not having any friends? And I think that's something I've realized, is that I would rather have no friends than inauthentic friendships that don't feel right for me. And the last question I'm going to have you ask yourself is, do you use some of your friendships as distractions? Because I know for me in the past, I would honestly, subconsciously, it wasn't a conscious thing I was doing, but I would keep some of my friendships on the back burner to do fun things or go out. And especially when I was drinking a lot, I would be like, well, they're really fun to go out with, but like I would never want to hang out with them outside of that. That could be a key indicator as well for if they should still be in your life or not. And all of this is up to you. I can't tell you how to do it. I can't tell you who to do it with. Your intuition will tell you. And if you feel like you keep resisting what your intuition is telling you, I just want you to know that I've been in the same boat. And that was literally me this past 6 months of just kind of like really being honest with myself and really being honest with others. So remind yourself where your integrity lies and how you want to communicate in your friendships or relationships. And if communication is important to you, use it, right? I know communication is so important to me, and I was ignoring that part of myself that felt like honesty was a big part of my integrity and my values, and I wasn't even using it. I was telling white lies to keep the peace. So don't tell white lies to keep the peace, okay? It's gonna feel uncomfortable, but I promise you will feel more peaceful after doing it. I know that I do. I know that I do. And yeah. So thank you so much for listening. It's been a cozy episode. Feels like we're at a sleepover. But I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Give yourself grace and be honest with yourself, be honest with others. And I hope that your day is as magical as you are.